View show, the number one in internet webosphere programming. I'm Ross Richards. We got Jack Death with us from over on the Mosh Shinobi channel. Pop over there, give him a sub. Since there's basically nothing going on in new releases, as Gaz has said. Well, actually, Gaz, you've unfortunately kept up with them in the theater drops more than I have recently. In great detriment to you and your soul. But that's another reason why we decided to revisit the OG original, where it all happened. The Running Man, 1987, Arnold Swartzenegger. I have not read the original book short story, but I have watched like several video recaps, so I've got somewhat of an idea of the elements that are included in that. So we'll try to get some sort of comparison going when we get our after we pass through the plot elements. I'll just start with a little bit of a channel news updates while the signal goes out. So next week, Gaz and I have No Country for Old Men. That was a audience request, also landing close to the anniversary, and then something I'm very much looking forward to the week after that. Sisu 2, The Road to Revenge. Once again, check out our Sisu 1 review on the channel. Check out the Blu-ray on Amazon. It's an amazing movie. If you like John Wick, if you like the type of vigilante action movies that Gaz and I review here, it's actually an amazing masterpiece. But it's got the World War II backdrop. So if you're either into like the vigilante, John Wick style action, or you're into kind of World War II, period film.
Yeah, and it's got it's got that actor from Avatar and those movies where he played a blind veteran. He usually plays military kind of roles, and he's always good in those kind of areas as well. So yeah, definitely. I think there's 2 trailers for Sisu as well, and definitely peep the latest. Looks so sick.
A bit of a spoiler from the Sisu 1 trailer. So, like, you see his dog get shot at by the Nazis, but then in the text it tells you, spoiler, the dog doesn't die. So, no worries to having, John Wick 1 PTSD for this film. I did notice the dog was in his truck in Sisu 2. I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction that nothing happens to the dog in Sisu 2 because it's Sisu, and, you know what that guy does to enemies. So, this is Sub-Zero. Now, plane zero. Shout out to Arnold Schwarzenegger, the GOAT, playing Ben Richards in The Running Man. So yeah, Gaz unfortunately survived his screening of the Budding Man 2025. So we'll get his reaction at the end. Surprised you made it through, Gaz. Round of applause.
I'm gonna say this now. This is all you need to know about that POS 2025. The bumming man, the cooked man, the effed man, the SHI, okay, poop tube chillage review, double TY man.
The effing man.
Yeah, literally the bummed man, the bumming man.
It's unfortunate because Glenn Powell, I thought, did pretty good in Top Gun 2 Maverick. So like,
yeah,
he's up and down. Like, I thought he had potential, but I was like, no, dude, you don't take this. Now I know we'll get into Arnold's comments about The Running Man and how he said like that's the one Arnold movie that should be remade. I mean, some of the technology elements are outdated. I think me and Gaz can both acquiesce to that, but like it still holds up. I mean, there's a lot of iconic things about it. Go ahead, Gaz.
Right. The original, more memorable characters, far more dystopian, far more sinister, much more memorable. I feel even the story's better. This one just feels like bland Hollywood, cheesy. Well, I know someone would say, "Oh, yeah, the original's cheesy." Yeah, but it's more memorable. This POS is just popcorn filler that's instantly forgettable. There's no presence. Characters are as bland as hell. Even Josh Brolin can't save it, who's a good actor. It literally is. We've been bummed. It's the bumming man.
Yeah, I think Slip nailed it with the runs, man. I mean, that trailer practically gave me the runs. So I don't know how Gaz made it through the full picture. All right, let's move on to the reason why we're here, the reason why you all came today. Pulling up synopsis, The Running Man, 1987. Why is my throat like jacked every time we try to do the show? It's crazy. It's got nothing to do with my extracurricular activities, guys. In a future dystopian America, a wrongfully accused and convicted policeman gets his shot at freedom when he's forced to participate in a TV game show where convicts called runners must battle killers for their freedom. You can stream it on Paramount. That's where I watched it. Apparently, it's on MGM Plus. Haven't even heard of that one. It's also to rent and buy on Amazon. I think you can rent it on YouTube as well. I didn't search it. I assume it's an 87 movie. There's probably
it's on TV all the time as well.
Yeah, it's on TV all the time. I'm sure somebody uploaded it somewhere. Do a little bit of cast before we pop off. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ben Richards, Maria Conchita Alonso, Amber Mendez, Yaphet Kotto, Laughling, Jim Brown, Fireball. We'll talk about him. Jesse Ventura, Captain Freedom, another team up from Predator 1. I'm thinking, guys, we'll probably have to hit Predator 1 because I think our first review was The Predator, which was Buns, and obviously Wacklands is out now.
Well,
I know you had the displeasure of screening it.
Yeah, isn't Maria Conchita Alonso in Predator 2?
Yes,
she is. Yeah,
she is. Yep. So she comes a bit of a sci-fi staple.
Yeah.
Erlen Van Lith, Dynamo. Rest in peace to him. He passed away 2 months before the film released. That was authentic opera singing in his sequence. The amount of random talents displayed in this movie that have nothing to do with like being a stalker or killing people. But like I said, it made it iconic. I'm like. A lot of people have said like this is like the original Expendables guys because of like Ventura's background, Jim Brown in the NFL, Professor from the Japanese WW or whatever.
Yeah. He's in loads of martial arts movies.
There's a massive amount of like real athletes. I think Buzzsaw also had some athletic background. I forgot what his was.
Yeah, I call him Timber Sports.
Professor Turo Tanaka. Of course, even though I've seen the film 50 times, I only learned from YouTube that the leader of the Resistance is Mick Fleetwood from
Fleetwood Mac.
There's your music connection. Obviously, Dweezil Zappa plays Stevie, which is supposed to be a play on Stevie Nicks, and then Richard Dawson, Damon Killian. Dawson is actually brought upon. Oh my God, Edward Bunker is Lenny, dude. He's in Reservoir Dogs. That's awesome. He's Eddie Bunker for Reservoir Dogs. Like so. Anyway, nice. It's super stacked. Obviously, my boy Kurt Fuller as Toner. He's Russell from Wayne's World. So you're going to see a massive amount of familiar faces if you watch like 80s, 90s movies, like Gaz and I obviously have. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit of a controversy. Basically, when the film gets going and the producers first purchased the rights, they were wondering why it was $20,000 for the rights of this unknown sci-fi author. You know what I'm coming to, guys.
I do. His pseudonym.
Richard Bachman, and then ultimately the companies are like, oh, that's Stephen King, and they're like, oh, that's why that's so much money. Stephen King ultimately doesn't like the film. He doesn't want his name attached to it. He has them credit the pseudonym in the film credits. He just said that like Ben Richards and the Arnold performance got way too far away from the character in the book. Honestly, I like a lot of the changes the movie makes. The whole live television game show, that's an addition to the movie. That's not in the book. I think that plays much better to a movie. From what I know about the book, Gaz, King had a really wide scope of the setting. So Richard goes from like the Midwest to New York City to Boston to Maine to Derry. I'm not sure how much Maine, Derry is the town that King always uses. So
yeah, that happens in The Bumming Man 2025. Yeah,
I expected that. They followed it closer. So I'm cool with the Boston sequences. You guys know I'm a Bostonian, as is King is from the greater Boston area. We both are. I've mentioned it many times on the show when we covered King. But I don't know. Like I feel like for something like this, you kind of need to like focus the scope as opposed to like, they go. Also, apparently the stalkers in the remake, P-make, we'll call it, guys. So in the book, the stalkers aren't like these like superhero-esque like TV characters. Like they more blend in with the gen pop, so they can like
they do that.
Runners and try to kill them.
Yeah.
So that sounded to me a lot more like the 10th Victim. And then there's also a 1983. I think it's a French film. We'll find it in the notes. That sued the Running Man production for like making such a similar film. I haven't seen that one, but we'll pull up the title and maybe, you know, me and Gaz will dive
into it. In A Bumming Man, the do blend in with society. Okay, we haven't read the actual source material, so I don't want to really give it too much credit, the 2025 edition, but I guess they will argue, oh yeah, this follows the novel
more
far
accurate.
closer. Yeah, but sadly, it doesn't make it good. It's still an atrocious popcorn POS movie.
Yeah, so like Running Man 87, right? Like eject your brain because the movie's insane. Arnold just plays a meathead where he kills these stalkers.
Yeah.
Not overly realistic fight sequences either, Gaz, I would say, but entertainment value through the roof.
Exactly.
So
it's entertaining.
Go either way. Like you can take your substances, if you will, and watch Running Man off your face, laugh your ass off, and have an amazing time. As Gaz said, you could also try to remake the same source material in 2025 and make a popcorn movie that just doesn't hit or land. And I even saw Siskel and Ebert talking about it, saying that like Killian's performance, Dawson, was like fascinating. And he's like, what this guy did, exposing the corporatocracy, the television industry, the game show, like is one of the best performances in the movie. So, and there are actually a lot of serious points, you know, dystopian society that Gaz will come to as we break things down. There's little hints, but I think that's a pretty good stuff.
Like I said, Josh Brolin in the Bumming Man. Okay, yeah, he's a good actor and he's fine in that role. And yes, you do get that revelation of how the TV industry, especially going further dystopian, would work. But compared to the 87 original, who's more game show-esque, kind of like the guy who's the announcer in Best of the Best 2, who does that role as well. It's just more entertaining. It's more memorable. It's more what you'd get. He comes across more as a behind-the-scenes sinister TV exec in the new one.
Sure, yeah, and I guess that's more of like a present-day update. You know, again, I haven't seen this. I'm just going off of reacting to what Gaz is saying. Other than the trailer, I couldn't stomach more than that.
No, don't. It's not worth it.
I want to actually survive to continue this show.
Yeah, we want you here next week.
Not have to kill myself before Sisu drops. So don't edit us for that, YouTube. It was a joke. So I think Arnold's nod to getting Dawson involved. I think that's the reason why he killed it. And like Gaz says, like he has the energy and he has set because he's a real game show host. You know what I mean? So like I think he was able to channel both. Like, hey, if I turned it up all the way on 10, you know, and then I was just like this obnoxious, self-absorbed. Which I mean, you got a lot of that in TV anyway. But plus the government's giving you a green light to essentially unalive people. You know what I mean? You'd obviously become that ego monster. So I definitely agree. Like on my last view last night, I was like, yeah, you know what? Killing actually, you wouldn't really say like Running Man, like who had a good performance in this movie. It would, other than the athletes that play the stalkers, it would be hard to say. But Killian absolutely killed it. I agree. You know.
Yeah. I think Yapet Koto is good though as well from, you know, Alien OG. He was good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And also the computer tech guy, he was pretty cool as well.
Yeah, he got zapped pretty hard by our man Dynamo. So we'll pop us off. I'll give you guys a little background, then me and Gazzy will do plot. Feel free to jump in with your one-liners or any highlight scenes in the chat. The Running Man is an 87 dystopian sci-fi action thriller film directed by Paul Michael Glazer from a screenplay by Stephen E. D'Souza. D'Souza, he's a legend. He wrote 48 Hours, Commando, Running Man, Die Hard 2, Hudson Hawk, Knockoff, and Judge Dredd. The dude, Paul Michael Glazer, that is Starsky from the original Starsky and Hutch show, guys.
Nice.
He made the transition as like a TV actor to actually, they had a couple other directors that were attached to the picture, some pretty good names that dropped off creative differences. So they kind of brought in Glazer because he has this TV background, and they also wanted like a faster production. So they figured like a TV director could do that off, which he did. I mean, he kept them on time schedule. He kept them on budget, which like you've heard all the other shows me and Gaz have done. Maybe about 40% of movies stay on schedule and budget. You know what I mean? So to even pull a guy that does that for you, you're like, okay, he did his job. I know Arnold, you know, had some like disagreements with his directing style. I really don't see those. It's easy for me to say as a Glazer Arnold fanboy sitting on my couch watching the film, but we'll get more into the back. I mean, I'm sure Arnold saw things that I didn't see actually being on set, right? It goes without saying. So Um, 82 novel The Running Man by Stephen King, writing under the pseudonym Richard Bachman, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. We already kind of did everybody. Yaphet Kotto, as Gaz mentioned, Jesse Ventura. Set in a dystopic and totalitarian future U.S. where state-controlled broadcaster airs a deadly game show in which convicted criminals known as runners must survive pursuit by themed gladiatorial assassins called stalkers. The story follows Captain Ben Richards, a framed police officer forced to compete on the show, who becomes an unlikely symbol of resistance against a corrupt government and its manipulative media machine. Development of the film was marked by substantial creative turnover, originally slated to be directed by George P. Cosmatos with Christopher Reeve in the lead role. Project underwent major changes when both were replaced during pre-production. Andrew Davis briefly directed the early weeks of film before being dismissed, which Glazer was retired. Arnold later criticized this decision, arguing that Glazer approached the material too much like television and diminished its thematic potential. Multiple drafts of the script were written, shifting the tone from a dark, socially conscious allegory to a more humorous, action-oriented spectacle tailored to Schwarzenegger's star persona. Production began in September 86 with extensive set pieces, stunt work, and dance sequences, including choreography by 80s superstar Paula Abdul, designed to enhance the film's television-inspired aesthetic. I just want to react to those recaps, guys. Christopher Reeve, okay, I love the guy. He's a Superman legend. But in like 80s, 90s, like comic book fanboy minds like us, like I know these actors need jobs to get paid, but for us, we're like, you can't be Ben Richards. You're already like Clark Kent, you know?
Yeah, you picture him like too kind of clean for the role, and now because we're used to it with Arnie, can't imagine it. I know that anyone watching doesn't mean, oh no, that's why you're not open to the remake or anything. No, not open to it because the remake just wasn't that good.
I mean, I only bring that up because Christopher Reeve became this DC superstar before comic projects were even big, and Glenn Powell doesn't even have an iconic role that I can name. Right? Not to say that he won't or that I think he's a bad actor. He just doesn't have an iconic role. You're like, hey, that character is Glenn Powell. You know, I'm sure he'll get one. I also another name that was floated, guys. You can react to this: Patrick Swayze as Ben Richards. Or are you more of we love Swayze here. We've mentioned him many times, especially in the John Philbin interview. But we love Schwarzenegger. What do you think?
You know, I think Swayze would have been all right, actually. I could see Swayze doing it. I think Swayze could have pulled it off, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a scheduling issue with the Sways. Yeah. Rest in peace to Patrick Swayze, the GOAT. I always keep the president right nearby in case, you know what I mean, we need to bring Bodie, a.k.a. Sways, in on the show at any random point. You never know. We might need him on any review. Cosmatos, I believe we talked about him. I talked about him with John Philbin, right? I think he was the original director of Tombstone. So where did I leave off? Abdul. The Running Man was released in the U.S. in Nov 13 anniversary 1987. Me and Gaz are 2 days off, grossing $38 million against a $27 million budget. Contemporary reviews are mixed. Critics praised Richard Dawson's villainous turn and the film's satirical jabs at American media culture, but criticized its repetitive action structure and inconsistent tone. Over time, the film has undergone a degree of critical reassessment, with commentators noting its surprising prescience regarding reality television, economic inequality, and the political weaponization of media imagery. The film later inspired video game adaptations and has been cited as an influence on other dystopian game show narratives. Something about the P-make. I'm going to skip that line for all of our sanity. What was I going to say that was in there that piqued my interest? Oh, okay. So what me and Gaz said about Starship Troopers, I'm going to go ahead and repeat now. I'd argue now that 87 is more relevant now with the AI imagery, the deep fakes. I'm sure it will come up in the notes, but that's a concept that wasn't understood by an 87 audience. I mean, me and Gaz is super tapped into sci-fi TV. I'm super tapped into sci-fi movies, as you guys know. So I guess if you have the kind of 80s, 90s sci-fi conscience that like we have, like it really, even when I watched this the first time, Gaz, when I was whatever age, I was obviously 2 when this movie came out. I had no trouble understanding when they superimposed the imagery of Richard's face on the guy that obviously Captain Freedom kills. When they showed those screeners to focus groups or test screens, the audience didn't understand what was happening. Now, I get it was the late 80s, but was it and they re-edited that scene. So was that difficult to understand when they superimpose the face?
I don't think so, because look, there's not much sci-fi I don't like. I'm not going to bring up the gas station bin classics I've watched, but
oh yeah,
I'm quite sure there would have been other films and series from that era where they would have done that, you know, fake something. There was Babylon 5, which is supposedly being remade, the series. They keep talking about that. It's one of the most greatest sci-fi series that's ever been made. There, in one of the seasons, they actually do a really dark turn with exactly that. I'll just say they fake an event, very high political stakes that has repercussions. I mean, I think, if I remember right, the whole thing kind of sparks off a conflict. And yeah, it's obviously what we've saw in The Running Man. So I wouldn't think so, because think about it. This is set in the future. So even back then, right, this is set in the future from our time then.
2017,
the technology is going to be better. They're going to be able to do things like this. Okay, now we can look back. Yeah, it's a bit primitive in how they show how they do that, but the idea obviously is there.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like sci-fi audiences would have got the concept. I guess it was like general audiences, which I get it. It was late 80s. Home computers really hadn't even, so I get that. But I don't know. I just thought that was interesting that they were like, whoa, what's going on? And they had to re-edit the scene, whereas me and Gaz watch it back now. We're like, yeah, I don't know. So we'll go right into plot. By 2017, like I always loved like Blade Runner's like 2019, and this is 2017. It's obviously
I like Back to the Future too as well, isn't it?
Hasn't turned out that way, but it's all good. I could, of course, Arnold went off in this. Another big thing too was this was pushed, which I think may have hurt it. So Predator OG 1 was coming out, summer blockbuster, and they pushed Running Man to November, Thanksgiving, because they didn't want Arnold to compete with himself, which I understand. I think that if they would have just maybe held this for like next summer, you know what I mean? I think it would have did better as a summer blockbuster. Obviously, you don't want to go against Predator because Predator's insane. And then
agreed, because Terminator 84, then Commando 85, Raw Deal 86, this 87, along with Predator OG, Red Heat 88. So, and this one, and this is, don't get me wrong, I like the movie, obviously. So I don't mean this in a detrimental way, but a bit like Raw Deal, this definitely looks more indie-based compared to Predator OG.
Yeah, 100%. And Predator, I think, had 20th Century Fox. So this essentially was considered a semi-indie production, if you can believe that. A lot like Terminator 1. 2017, following a worldwide economic collapse and resource scarcity, the U.S. has become a totalitarian police state. The government maintains control through propaganda, censoring unsanctioned art, music, and communication. The state-controlled broadcaster ICS runs the nation's most popular program, The Running Man, a game show in which prisoners can earn their freedom by surviving as runners against lethal stalkers. Captain Ben Richards arrested after refusing orders to open fire on an unarmed food riot in Bakersfield, California. His fellow officers massacre the rioters and frame Richards for the incident, branding him the butcher of Bakersfield. 18 months later, Richard escapes from a prison labor camp with resistance fighters Harold Weiss and William Laughlin. They ask him to join their cause, but Richard declines, focused only on surviving. We could just kind of react to those intros, guys. Obviously, there's the whole pilot scene, just kind of ridiculous how the guy pulls a gun on him. Arnold punches him in the face, starts fighting guys in the back, and I'm like, who's flying this thing? Like, how did it not crash and just they all die and the movie's over in 30 seconds? But you know how me and Gaz do. We're always
brief, man. Yeah.
Some guy grabs the control mid-fight, in the mid-cockpit fight.
Yeah, it's a memorable intro as well. Quite.
It is.
It's got kind of some amusing dialogue as well, even though it's like very, very serious. Just the way it's delivered, and it's memorable. And for sure, I guess the chopper didn't quite want to go down, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's kind of like the Predator chopper intro gone wrong.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
The, the,
Yeah.
the prison breakout scene is pretty cool. I do like how it
Yeah.
sets the mood. It almost gives you like that like kind of like Judge Dredd 1 movie aesthetic, or even like
Yeah.
Riddick,
Yeah.
Riddick when he's in the prisons.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I do like their whole plan to like overthrow the guards and like kind of escape. I mean, it's pretty quick, it's pretty brief, but like it gets the action popping, which I like. I think Arnie gives a guy a lift when he throws him off a thing or something. How about a lift?
Yeah.
So, that
It's
pretty cool.
It's a good sequence, and that has been replicated in other sci-fi movies and series where they've got the collar on and they can't go past a point, or obviously the collar then will, take them out. It's really, really well done, especially with the guy. Why has my mind gone blank? I know every other character, and I've seen it so many times, and I don't want to just keep calling him the IT guy. I guess tech support, But it's a pretty cool scene as well, where he's hacking the code to turn off the security measures that are taking out people's heads. YouTube, it's a film review. Chill. We're describing a sequence in the film. But yeah, I like that, man. It's brief. Just kind of sets the whole tone for it. How you can imagine it. They've probably sent anybody there.
Yeah, while he's hacking it, and his head pops, and then like I love how there's like that like guard that's like on the computer control, and like he doesn't even have a gun, and he's just standing there, and then like finally some guy like blasts it. I'm like, the guy's not even shooting back. Like, anyway, a great film, gets popping right away. I do like once they kind of like get into the city and like establish like the resistance and stuff. Like the resistance concept is super cool. I mean, as Gaz said, similar type element. You see that in like obviously like Terminator Salvation. You see that in Demolition Man. There's a obviously a whole bunch of other movies that have that kind of like underground resistance. But I thought it was done well in here. So when they asked like Richards to join, he said that he's like his brother's going to help him escape. Like there are like a few like plot holy elements, because she later on tells him like when she's living in the apartment that they took away his brother for re-education, but like he never does anything to like try to search for his brother in the database or go. Bro, if you told me that, the first thing I'm doing is going and I got out. The first thing I'm doing is going to the camp to try to break him out. You know what I mean? But it's like he had bigger things on his mind.
Yeah, and the IT guy, it's Harold Weiss, a resistance hacker. So there we go, folks.
He was a cool character. I like having the techie, like Gaz said, the kind of techie thing. That escape scene was crazy. Having the techie character. So Richards travels to his former apartment, but discovers that ICS composer Amber Mendez now lives there after his brother was taken for re-education. Like, I love how the security code wasn't changed on the front door, guys.
Yeah, and there's something we've got to talk about in this scene. No matter, I'm gonna jump straight in. No matter how many times I see this, it's so hilarious. Captain Freedom's workout routine that's on the TV in the background, where he does that pose and flex and like goes, and then just dances like it just moves slow motion across the screen at the bottom.
I love how like she's like working out, like watching like that Captain Freedom, like he's like the most cringe like workout meathead like ever, but his former stalker like background is freaking amazing. Richard forces Amber to help him to bypass airport security, but thinking he is the butcher, she alerts the authorities. I mean, that whole scene is kind of ridiculous, how they just let them on. They're going to Hawaii or whatever, and they just let them on without like the creds. You know what I mean? It's like, and then his escape is pretty sick when they good.
I was going to say, did it remind you of the scene in Total Recall with Sharon Stone a bit?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's got that vibe, hasn't it? I love the way as well where Annie says, money.
Yeah, oh yeah, hell yeah. And then when he's like kind of running away down the plane runway, yes, dude, Jesse Ventura is high key him. When he's running away, that camera angle of when they shoot the net at him and they have that kind of like first person view, I'm like, that was a sick camera angle. So I mean,
definitely.
Directing had its moments of
there's a lot of things in this movie, Ross, that definitely set up everything that followed. It influenced a lot. It's definitely a cult sci-fi classic for sure.
100% PXF
Yeah.
classic. Where did I leave? I think he's a butcher.
Yeah, we've just done a part on the department. I was mentioning the Captain Freedom's workout routine played on the TV in the background.
After his they kind of have like a awkward like exchange in the apartment there with some weird vibes. But after his capture, Amber sees news reports falsely claiming that Richards murdered people during the incident and begins to doubt his guilt. Damon Killian, the host of The Running Man, approaches Richards, hoping to use his notoriety to revive the show's ratings. He threatens to send the recaptured Weiss and Laughlin into the game unless Richards agrees to participate. I like the way Damon has that meeting with him at the prison. The guy like sets up the sinister of this. Like, okay, this guy's pretty much willing to do anything to try to keep his show on top. Yeah. I could only name two, could never figure out the third. I don't know. Maybe Ventura like cameoed in something. I don't know either. I obviously know these two. I'm not sure what else Ventura worked on besides Predator.
Batman Robin, I think.
Okay.
Oh man. Well, I'll try and remember what it was. I think it's that.
Take two of these and call me in the morning. Where are we? To participate. When the show begins, Killian betrays Richards by sending him, Weiss, and Laughlin into the game zone, an abandoned section of Los Angeles, via rocket sleds. The group is hunted by Sub-Zero, a hockey-themed stalker whom Richards kills, making the first time a runner has ever killed a stalker. We'll break that fight down for sure. So why the hockey guy is a massive like Japanese wrestler, you would have think that they would have picked something closer to his skill set, like some sort of wrestling stalker, but nope, they went with the giant like theatrical bladed hockey stick, which Gaz has played hockey, so he's a hockey fan, so I'm sure this was your favorite sequence, Gaz. And then what else does it use? Exploding hockey pucks.
Oh dude, that's so
awesome.
sick.
Awesome.
Dude, I couldn't help think, this is why I'm going to show the Turtles kind of fans. I couldn't help think of like Casey Jones doing that as well against the Foot Clan.
I love that. Casey's the man.
Yeah, it's a very memorable scene. The lighting, it's good where there's a limited budget here, so it's a simple use of lighting to make it look more sinister, more dark, like this murderous YouTube. It's a film review, unalivable hockey arena. I just love his presence, the way he introduces himself. He's got the exploding pucks, Ross, and you get the sense. I think it's one of the way he's hunting them as well. Mm-hmm. On this one is really well done, and there's some nice shots of camera angle where I think there's one point he puts Weiss, doesn't he, in one of the goals, and it shuts around him. I think it's Weiss.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, I like how he's like, guys, get me out of here, and like the two other runners are like on the sides, like, just hold on, man, we're gonna get you. Never mind the massive wrestler with the bladed hockey stick that's firing exploding pucks at us. I like the lighting, as Gaz said. I think they could have did a little more with the fight. They should have put the runners on skates. That would have been sick. And then you got to like really, because he'd just be the stalker would just be skating around you and clearly have the advantage. So I think that would have really put it over the edge. Ultimately, the execution is absolutely hilarious. Slip did the line earlier. Arnold, he pulls off atop of the barbed fence and sets up a choke wire, a tripwire choke wire for Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero gets caught in it, wraps around his neck, and Arnold kind of kills him with the barbed wire. So definitely a grimy kill for sure. It goes by a little bit rushed. I think they could have drew it out a little bit more, but then again, this back when movies were hour 40 minutes and they were reasonable. Yeah,
it does a bit. I guess that's one of my only few kind of criticisms is I know you see the spoiler alert as we get to it, another instance of using, I guess, deep fakes with Jesse Ventura's character, Captain Freedom, that fight he has. But I would like to have seen him out there actually hunting Arnie. A little bit more of that, because we get, you get Fireball, Dynamo, rest in peace. He's one of the few stalkers I never really warmed to. Dynamo kind of just got on my nerves a little. Doesn't grate on me, but I preferred the other stalkers. But yes, it would have been nice if we'd have maybe seen another one or Captain Freedom in there. I do quickly want to shout out this movie. Greg probably will have seen this. This could be something we could cover one time. It's a epic movie. It's a 90s martial art movie called The Perfect Weapon. Now, the guy who I'm going to struggle to do, the guy who plays Sub-Zero, who is, why is my mind gone blank again, Ross? What's happening today? Professor Toru Tanaka. Yep. He is one of the villains in A Perfect Weapon. That is a sick movie. Greg's probably seen that. It's awesome. Probably, he's cool in that as well.
I've heard he did a few other films, which is sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's awesome. It's an awesome fight. I would have liked to these couple combat exchanges. I would have liked a little more. I definitely agree with Gaz's point of because when Captain Freedom is watching like Richards killing the stalkers, you can see he's like getting mad. He wants to get back out there. He also pops like the pill at one point, which you assume is like an adrenaline like drug. So you really never get like the Captain Freedom Ben Richards face off that you think you're going to get.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that goes without saying. Odd Job in the Bond movies. Yeah, it said that in go check out Screen Rant channel. They just did the Running Man Honest trailer. I sent it to get you and Matt, guys. Absolutely hilarious, must watch. And also it's on Cinema Sins as well, both classics. So yeah, that is pretty cool. A lot of other cameos. That woman that Damon Killian keeps interviewing in the beginning, that's actually Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia's mom.
Oh yeah, it's the mom. Yeah.
She's in a lot of stuff. So like the random cameos in this movie are like insane. Like,
and some of those interactions Killian has with the audience members when he's asking them to place the bets. You know what I think is so good as well about this movie, Ross, is it's got the humor, it's entertaining, but underneath that, it's really quite a smart commentary on culture at the time, well, still relevant now, politics, how it could go in a very dystopian, one up to in a very dystopian direction as well, and how kind of this extreme violence has become normalized with how they dispose of people as well.
Yep.
I know it's because I'm getting ahead of myself, but as you know, the Nana who says, "I want to bet on Ben Richards, Ross, because he's won me." That's one of the most epic scenes in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. No, that's I love when the momentum turns to the crowd going for the runner Richards, and then also the bet guys. Like when she said, like, "No, I want to bet on Richards," and those guys were like, "Okay, we're gamblers," so they just write Richards on the thing, start taking the bets. You know, there's a really funny comment about that in the Cinema Sins of why that is a sin there.
Climbing for dollars. I just saw that. I'd buy that for $1. Yeah, see that kind of sequence. The dogs that got climbing.
Okay. So here's the thing about climbing for dollars, like friggin' like. If you assume that some of those dudes have seen the show before, but they just climb up the rope till that thing sprays you with the gas, and then you fall on the shepherd, and you obviously know that the shepherd dices you. But that was apparently there was more of those guys. Like they had more little. Apparently there was some like Japanese show where people were like semi-tortured or whatever. It was very controversial, like putting up with pain and humiliation, and a lot of that stuff is based on that. But apparently there were other like climbing for dollars shows that they cut like similar.
Yeah, I seem to remember, wasn't the a Japanese game show that come as well?
Yeah,
come after this. Maybe it's the same show where they were making people run through. Was it like whilst they were firing live artillery or something?
Probably, yeah. I think I saw something about it on YouTube. I forgot the name, but hell yeah. Let's get where's our boy Sub-Zero. So obviously he gets strangled by Richards. This is Sub-Zero, now playing Zero. And after that, meanwhile, Amber is caught retrieving the unedited Bakersfield footage and sent into the zone. Killian dispatches 2 more stalkers, the chainsaw-wielding Buzzsaw and the electricity-shooting Dynamo. Here's my problem with Dynamo. If his ability is electric, wouldn't they call him like Shocker or something? Like, why is his name like every Buzzsaw is Buzzsaw because he has a saw. Jim, what's his name, is Fireball because he has like a flamethrower. but Dynamo's name has nothing to do with his electricity.
Dynamo. Well, it's more like an opera reference, really, isn't it? With his opera singing, yes, but it kind of. I get it. I get why they name that, because he's obviously singing, but it doesn't really pay too much homage to his preferred method of attack, which is electricity.
Everybody else is named after their their weapon. You know what I mean? Just point that out. He was slightly annoying. He didn't. I still think Dynamo's hilarious though. Richards kills Buzzsaw, though Laughlin is fatally wounded. Weiss discovers the satellite uplink controlling the government broadcast and is located inside the zone. And he cracks the access code for Amber to memorize before Dynamo kills him. Richards incapacitates Dynamo, but refuses to kill him while defenseless, shocking the audience. The whole thing, I mean, obviously, like, Dynamo's waiting. Like, I think either Honest Trailer or Cinema Sins points it out. Like, Dynamo's waiting in the dark, but his armor is like light bright, and then he shoots the techie dude Weiss like right after he finishes.
Yeah,
probably could have just killed him any point there, but that's okay.
He's like a mobile Christmas tree, isn't he?
Yeah, hey, come on, light bulb, Christmas tree, come on. So he obviously, like, I think either Honest Trailers or Cinema Sins made fun of that. Like, he obviously could have just shocked Richards, but instead he gets the ATV and tries to drive up a hill. Also, like, it bothered me that, like, Dynamo, when he was down, it really didn't come back to him into the zone until way later. I'm like, obviously he could have just got out of the ATV, right? Like, he said his armor defected, so he couldn't shoot anymore, right? But still, you think he would have just picked up a weapon and done something, you know what I mean?
I do like, Also, I want to give a shout out to, I'm trying to find the actor's name, the guy who's the announcer, Ross, and he is hilarious. And we do get a quick flash to him when he's sat in a TV studio and he's got the mic in front of him. And I couldn't help, man. I mean, I guess this is showing kind of like our musical leanings and things of that nature here. But I couldn't help think, man, of some like comedy hype man for battle rap. You know, he's got the mic in front of him, and this is when he's character assassinating Amber, because, as you said, they found Amber looking for the footage of the original footage of the Bakersfield food riots. And when Killian brings out Amber and the character assassinating her, and there's like that flashback to the guy in the studio's like, so-and-so, he was her lover. She cheated on her exams. And it's the way the guy delivers it. It's so cheesy and camp, but utterly hilarious. And I thought, I don't know why, bro. I just got this image in my mind of him sat there at some table with guys facing off in a battle rap environment and him kind of doing the hype on either side.
Even stand-up comedy, like when the comedian's on the stage and that dude usually, Russell Peters, it's like very similar. But that dude's lines, he's like, she cheated on her exams and had relations with like 2, possibly 3 professors.
That's 3.
And then meets up with her renegade, her lover. That's like the propaganda. That dude was hilarious. So the Buzzsaw fight, absolutely hilarious. He obviously gets Richard, her Confederate, her hilarious. That guy was the man. So the Buzzsaw fight, he obviously gets Richards in the lasso, drags him on the first of all, it's like, if you're the chainsaw guy, are you really going to be riding a motorcycle? Like, the two don't really
it was the way they set it up, it was kind of a bit like a Mad Max kind of thing. And like he was like a knight on a bike with using a chainsaw as some kind of like joust, like as a lance. And I did. I thought the same. I mean, we'll obviously break it down more because it's very memorable and some awesome lines as well.
Man, that's awesome, Tim. I didn't realize you were out there. He's one of your cohorts, guys.
Nice.
But yeah, that's sick, man. That whole fight. I mean, obviously Arnold getting dragged around on the lasso, and then the dude takes out like the whatever those like wraps are called with the like balls on the end. So, just the whole fight. Like, obviously, like he takes the swings at Arnold with the chainsaw. Obviously Richards overpowers him, kind of slices it. I think it was Cinema Sins that was like when Richards is like, oh, I'm not gonna kill a unarmed man like even like you low life scum savages do. And then Cinema Sins is like, yeah, but you had no problem like sawing Buzzsaw in the balls unnecessarily.
Yeah, making him opera sing as well. The way he opera sang that moment, Ross, is hilarious as well.
Dynamo's talent.
What's his line? Is that just before that, isn't it? I love this saw. It's a part of me.
Then keep it. So yeah, there's some absolute classic one-liners peppered throughout. Pretty good fight. I think it would have been better if they would have like combined the conflict and like had Richards overpowering Buzzsaw with like Dynamo like shooting the lightning at him, you know, because it's kind of like they broke up the fights into two. It was like Dynamo versus Wise and Amber, and Richards with the other dude Laughlin, I think, versus Buzzsaw.
Did you think as well that Buzzsaw, aka Timber Sports, that he kind of spoke like a Texan version, like he was? I mean, he obviously sounded like he was from Texas. He kind of spoke like he was suffering from severe constipation as well, or he was constantly straining, you know, trying to.
Yeah, again, it came up whether he was like NFL or whatever his background was. I forgot what it was. But yeah, he was a bit of like a pre Austin 316 before Steve Austin, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a good call, yeah.
Good stuff though. But so there's been a bit of weigh in. Feel free to weigh on that fight in the chat. Like we said, Wise discovers the satellite uplink. I mean, Richards has some hilarious lines. Arnold, when he's talking about like they're like, we need to find the uplink, and he's like, what does he say? Like, shove it up your ass. Like, forget about it. You're gonna get us killed. Like, he has a couple good one-liners while they're looking for the uplink. But I assume that's something that's not in the book because it involves the whole TV, studio production theme. But I did like how they were looking for the uplink. I mean, I thought that was very forward thinking.
Yeah.
Like, that's very like, again, Gaz said, like that theme's been brought up in many sci-fis. It's very Matrix and even Tron, all the other things that have kind of like followed the uplink. Pretty cool.
It's a forerunner for it. There's so many. I mean, you've even got when Richards is first being put into the little rocket chair, and he says one of his classic line, Killian, I'll be back. That's there. Oh man, there's just so much. But yeah, you're right. That concept's in everything. But it shows how I can't compare it to the novel because obviously I haven't read it, and I know the 2025 version apparently is close to the novel, but I just don't feel it's a good film at all. However, I still feel, Ross, that the Running Man OG is so ahead of its time because it's I'm going to say this on YouTube. I know I'll use a wrestling reference, but I'm not actually referring to a wrestling, Ross. So it's got those NWO elements, but the other NWO, that's in there, so ahead of its time, man.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's talk plot holes. Putting the uplink in the zone. Is that something that the game would have not?
Someone's going to find it soon.
You're going to let the runners go. Like you could have just put it anywhere else, but obviously you needed that. We got No Country for Old Men coming up, and Sisu 2: The Road to Revenge next couple weeks. Richards incapacitates Dynamo, but refuses to kill him while defenseless, shocking the audience. When Killian secretly offers Richards a job as a stalker, Richards angrily refuses. Amber later finds the corpses of the show's supposed past winners, realizing their victories were fabricated, and Richards kills the flamethrower wielding Fireball. The audience begins cheering for Richards. So talk a little bit about Fireball. He is Jim Brown. He was like NFL legend, had the rushing record for the time. So I like the whole call-in Fireball, the whole sequence of like him like getting hyped up by the crowd, flying in with the jetpack. I thought Jim brought a lot of charisma to his stalker. When he pulls up on Amber, obviously like last season's winners, he's like, no, the losers, and then he's going to
that line was classic.
To Flamer, obviously like the dead bodies of the three dudes. When Killian played that footage of like the winners of last year are partying in Hawaii with all these hot chicks, or like dude, this company has screwed over every person. There's no way that they let those guys, you know, they just let those guys free. Kind of predictable, but also awesome the way that they depicted it.
He has a memorable presence from his hairstyle, the streak he has in it, and isn't it? I think one of his first appearances on screen when he's in the locker, well, in the back room, not the locker room, in the green room. Yeah. And doesn't he say, you know, take it for the zero or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
When he's referring to the, you know, when there's a Sub-Zero fight. So he has that presence, and I thought he was excellent in the role.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Don't stand us up. No country is on schedule. I'm not doing any travel.
Yeah, it was a bit difficult last week because we were both unavailable, so we couldn't. We normally would have put a notice out on one of the channels to let you know, but Rob was flying in and wasn't obviously here either. I couldn't get to come anywhere.
No countries on sketch. So Richards pops down. He pulls the fuel line. Fireball. Oh, my fuel line. And then I forget, what does Richard say when he throws the flare on him?
Isn't he? It's something. Having a light, isn't it? I'm sure Slip's about to pop that in the chat in a moment.
How about a light? And then once he blows him up, well, that's a hothead. So he completely. You obviously know what happens if Fireball. He gets blown up with his own jetpack. Absolutely hilarious death. So that was funny. Richard kills the flamethrower wielding. The audience begins cheering for Richard, and that's kind of where the it's already turning, but now it's like gone full circle that they're no longer like just accepting the corporate stalkers as, you know, as the heroes. Kind of turns the tide, if you will. How the turntables have, as Michael Scott says in The Office. Richards and Amber are found by Resistance leader Mick and taken to their command center. Killian tries to force the retired stalker Captain Freedom to fight Richard, but he refuses unless he can fight him honorably. So it didn't show what happened to Captain Freedom, did it, guys? Like semi-plot. Oh, I thought that they would kill him if he wouldn't go along with the show.
No, it doesn't, because we obviously get him fighting the spoiler here, folks. The guy who the fake, who's supposed to be Richards, who we find out who actually was offed as well because Killian wanted it to look authentic. There's the hilarious Captain Freedom rant when he's called to enter the arena, I guess. And, you know, he says, Killian, I'm not going to wear all this. And he's got all that ridiculous outfit. That's a hilarious scene. But I think you're right. We don't actually see what happens to him. So I'm assuming he's maybe one of them who possibly actually survived, because we don't see.
Yeah, it would have been cool for them to find that up. That's why I think maybe a sequel would have been better than a remake, because like Richards is still alive, Captain Freedom's still alive. You know, obviously we're going to see what happens to Killian in a minute, but like enough characters survived that I think, you know, obviously the Resistance, like how sick would have been if they did a sequel where the Resistance like totally overthrows that regime, you know, overthrows the TV thing, overthrows the government. It could have went into kind of more of like a Total Recall type political thing than the game show thing. Well, if you thought Reservoir Dogs was fun, Pixie, you're gonna love his No Country for Old Men review, because he enjoys that one just as much as he enjoyed Reservoir Dogs.
It's got one of the most it's got an epic scene in it though. It does have an epic scene there. It's absolutely hilarious.
Oh yeah, and some classic actors: Brolin, Harvier, and Lee Jones. So that's the whole deep fake AI simulation scene we were talking about, where they just have like they superimpose like Captain Freedom's face onto a random guy who kills another random, and he fake kills Amber and Richards in the whatever propaganda deep fake that they release.
Do they show us a deep fake on Amber? Don't think they do. Do they only show the male? No, seem to think they're doing.
As far as like the actual like CGI generation, I don't know, but he kills Amber.
But it's a shoot.
He takes her and he throws her on. So it doesn't. The way that you see it's on the other guy is because after that other guy goes on the spikes, it shows them taking off the computer generation. Oh yeah, did Conor Benn win? Is that out in the UK? I know there's a big fight going on, and also BKFC tonight in UFC. We'll do our picks at the end of the show. So where was I? But he refuses to confine him honorably. ICS instead fabricate footage showing Freedom killing Richards and Amber. Seeing this broadcast, Richard realizes that the government must ensure that they are never seen alive again. Using the satellite uplink codes, Mick transmits an expose revealing Killian's and the government's lies, including the unedited Bakersfield footage, while Richards leads resistance fighters in a takeover of ICS to prevent the broadcast from being shut down. The resistance battles ICS security forces as the studio audience flees. Is the final fight scene. Dynamo attacks Amber. I mean, he was the weird rapiest character. Like, all he ever does is like try to like climb on top of Amber. So it gets weird.
I think this the introduction of the third act is definitely one of the most memorable. It's epic. Killian stood there and he says in the background, you know, Killian is lying to you. The soundtrack, the way that all kicks off, that it's like the entire charade then coming down, that the whole thing, is a game, but not the game that the audience has been watching and participating in. That is a very deep, dark, sinister controlling machine, Matrix like, Ross.
Yep.
I think that's it's excellent the way that whole starts. I mean, we can get into chatting about some other memorable moments from the film as well, because there's so many. But the way this just starts, Ross, I think is extraordinary.
It's a bit of like unveiling of the wicked, like man behind the curtain moment, like Wizard of Oz type unveiling. Also, I think it was Honest Trailers or Cinema Sins that pointed this out. Like the studio security guard just start opening fire with all those civilians. Everyone just starts shooting everything, and it's like, dude, it's a whole room full of civilians. It's like, so you could clearly see they don't much care about they
didn't at all. It's like, season's literally going to be cancelled, so or whatever.
Studio's going to go up in flames. Oh well, we'll build a new one. The resistance battles ICS security forces. The studio audience flees. Dynamo attacks Amber, but she activates the sprinkler system and electrocutes him. Absolutely hilarious death. Richard confronts Killian, forces him into a rocket sled and sends him into the game zone where the uncontrolled vehicle crashes and explodes, killing him as crowds celebrate. Richards and Amber kiss, and the broadcast goes online. I mean, we'll break it down. I mean, the Killian death scene, absolutely hilarious. Of course, the iconic, "Hey there, cutie pie, one of us is in big trouble." Oh, we forgot to revisit the classic Arnold line when he yells into the camera.
He
takes that pen and he stabs it in the guy's back when he sticks the contract to him before they send him in. And then he's like, "I hope you live to eat that contract, but save enough room for my fist because I'm going to ram it to your stomach and break your goddamn spine." We'd be remiss if we didn't include that Arnold one-liner. But yeah, just this whole final fight, like Gaz was saying, sick. Obviously, that lead security guy comes out.
Sven.
He's like the other meathead, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I guess because he said like, what do steroids make you deaf?" Like earlier in the studio.
I need to go some steroids.
I must be deaf, and then he just walks away, and like everyone abandons Killian, which is hilarious. What up, Beckham?
It's hilarious the way that all started, because you hear Sven's footsteps and like Killian's turn into Sven. As you said, what you're going to do now, Richard's kind of thing, you're in trouble, and Sven's like, "Yep, I've got to go and score some steroids." Just walks off. The way Richard says to Killian, "I'm going to give the audience what they want, Ross."
Yep.
Killian then is sat in the chair, and then man, it's epic. I mean, the only other way I guess it could have been perfected would be, here's one for you.
Yep,
say Jesse. We're assuming Jesse Ventura is one of the few that's escaped from the Stalkers. That's maybe survived. So this is a big what if here. But if Killian was sent into the arena, and then Captain Freedom, who's mad at Killian, then Captain Freedom was hunting Killian down, delivering a line, that could have been pretty sick.
Yeah, sure. You would have expected that, because like Captain Freedom was obviously pissed, but there's just something about the iconic imagery of
definitely. I'm not saying anything away from that.
Poster of himself right through the poster and then blowing up, obviously blowing up for some reason, because none of the other pods did that, but that's okay.
So was that outro song on the end credits? You know, is that still one of your favorites? Listening to that,
I love the score of this movie. This guy that did the music is awesome.
It is that cheese at the end, though.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, dude,
but it's memorable.
Movie. Like nothing is resolved in this movie. Like Richards gets the girl, but like pretty much everyone who was with Richards, other than the Resistance, like all died. He wasn't able to save any of them. You know, Freedom escapes. He's still essentially a villain. He could go start his own show, like you said, or he still has a story arc. Obviously, Killian dies, but that doesn't stop the company or the fact that it works with the government. So
did Fleetwood Mac dude survive? I think he did, because he must have then said, I've got to go and do another album, so I'm not going to be around for a while.
I'm not going to be around for Running Man 2. I think Mick survived. Obviously, like, Dweezil Zappa, that's Frank Zappa's son, so I think he was in the mix. He had that side quest, so you got enough guys on here to keep it rolling. Well, let me see what they have here for cast. Also includes Karen Leigh Hopkins as Brenda, Sven Thorson as Sven, Eddie Bunker as Lenny, Brian Kressner as Medtech, Anthony Pena as Valdez, Kurt Fuller as Tony. So pretty stacked. I'll move into production and we'll hit music, and then some of the other influences, stuff like me and guys were saying. But feel free to jump in on anything you guys like on that ending sequence. Let me get a sip. The film was initially due to be filmed in Canada in September '85 with Cosmatos with Christopher Reeve, due to play Ben Richards. In 2015 interview about the film, Paul Michael Glasser said that he was originally approached to direct the film but declined because he felt that the pre-production period was insufficient. Cosmatos was replaced by Andrew Davis and Reeve by Schwarzenegger, and filming eventually started in September '86. After just 2 weeks, Davis was fired because the production was 1 week behind schedule and Glazer was hired. Schwarzenegger has stated that was a terrible decision, as Glazer shot the movie like it was a television show, losing all the deeper themes. LA Weekly stated that the film's tone changed from a dark allegory to a humorous action film with the change of the film's star. With Reeve, The Running Man was about an unemployed man who goes on a violent game show for a 30-day period to feed his family. With Glazer and Schwarzenegger, the protagonist became a condemned but innocent criminal forced into a 3-hour gladiator-style game show by the justice system. Screenwriter Souza wrote 15 drafts of the script over the course of the film's development. When the movie was shown to a test audience, the deepfake technology led them to believe that the two main characters were actually killed. Only later, when Richards and Ambrose are seen again, did they realize they were still alive, but a producer claimed the audience would be too stupid to understand what happened. This is what me and Gaz were talking about, and ordered the movie to be edited so everyone knew right away that it was not the real characters that died. That's just something I can't see happening nowadays. But again, primitive technology. The producers originally wanted Chuck Woolery to play Damon Killian, but Woolery was unavailable due to his hosting jobs on Love Connection and Scrabble. Arnold Schwarzenegger suggested Richard Dawson to play Killian because he and Dawson were close friends, and Schwarzenegger is a fan of Family Feud, which Dawson hosted. As I said, I think that was an amazing cast. I think that dude absolutely killed it. I mean, you never know with like game show hosts, because like they're on television, like it's totally different doing a live show. Like, can this guy act? But Dawson, he could do both, which I think made him the perfect cast. It was absolutely sick. The film soundtrack was composed by Harold Faltermeyer and includes music by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Richard Wagner, and Jackie Jackson, Glenn Barbie, and John Parr, who performed the main scene of the film Restless Heart, Running Away with You, one of my classics, as Gaz said. Written by John Parr and Harold Faltermeyer, produced by Faltermeyer, and played during the final scene end credits. An absolute classic. An expanded deluxe edition featured the full score along with source music and previously unreleased alternate cues, was released in 2020 by Varisi Sarabandi, who also released the original album in '87 on both CD and vinyl for all you vinyl collectors. Being also an opera singer, wrestler, and actor, I guess he was a wrestler as well, Gaz. Erland,
that's sick. That's sick.
Performs in his role as Dynamo the part of Aria out of Mozart's The Mirage of Figaro release. The film's release was postponed from summer '87 to Thanksgiving '87 due to the producer's desire to the film to only be the only action thriller released during the holiday season. The film opened on around 1,700 screens in the U.S. and Canada on November 13th, '87. I'll skip home media. You guys can look up the Lionsgate Blu-rays yourself. Lawsuit. This is what I was telling Ghazi about. Okay, I found it. A lawsuit determined the movie was plagiarized from the 83 French film Le Prix du Danger, The Prize of Danger, directed by Yves Boisset. Was made by, you like my French guys? Was made by
that's awesome.
actor Robert
La 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 la. Fronte.
Oui. Robert Sheckley's 58 short story, The Prize of Peril, just like the 1970 West German TV movie Das Millionspiel, The Million Game. I would like to check out The Prize of Danger. If they
Sam, I'm curious.
It piques the interest because now you're like, okay, if they actually sued, how much was it like? And it's like, dude, it's some French film. Like, to any of these American guys, like, even, what's the likelihood they've heard of that? So
yeah,
if they successfully sued, that's that.
What was like? Do you remember this? Do you remember, was it District 13, a free running film, and then RZA and Paul Walker did it as Brick Mansions, and it had David Belly in it again. It was still sick though.
It's not so like when there's like like they said about like that Western American, The Raid, that never came out, that was supposed to be Atkins. Like, it's not so weird when there's like a Western American, because District B13 was French, right? So when there's like an American version of one of these other films, it's not that crazy. I mean, it does happen, like we said, but like a kind of whatever you want to call that, different kind of Western, mainstream remake or whatever. Critical response, we'll skip Rotten Tomatoes. Metacritic uses a weighted average 45 out of 100. That's criminal. Audience polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average of B+ on a A+ to F scale. Here's Ebert from the Chicago Sun-Times, gave the film 2.5 stars out of 4, complaining that all the action scenes are versions of the same scenario, but praised Dawson's performance, stating that he has at last found the role he was born to play. Definitely agree with him on that. On the film's 30th anniversary in 2017, The Running Man was cited by a BBC journalist as having made accurate predictions about life in 2017, including economic collapse and offering of critique of American television culture. The film's writer, Sousa, himself reinforced these predictions in a podcast interview with Vice's magazine's Motherboard section. Reed Tucker of New York Post said in 2019 the film correctly predicted the widening gap between the rich and the poor, depicting homeless shanty towns and skyscrapers for the wealthy, resembling the real New York City and Los Angeles, and societal obsession with reality TV. All accurate. D'Souza said that one of the producers of American Gladiators sold his show with clips of The Running Man, telling the network, "We're doing exactly this except the murdering part." Like, of course, yeah, I'm sure you guys saw American Gladiators back in the day, guys, if you got the reruns.
Yeah.
Going on in the chat. Probably
you really man should
movie coming out. We'll get guys to weigh in on that for you, Jay. We'll get you an answer on that, bud. Arnie was on he was, dude. He was really him.
Well, it's epic sequence after epic sequence, isn't it? Raw deal, him driving around in the car with the stones blasting out. And I love the way Arnie in all of his movies, Bros, he can just look at where one of the villains are with his gun and misses no problem. Just looks, oh yeah, there he is.
there is a shot at Running Man at the prison breakout when he's mowing those guys down and the dude comes up from the side and he one-hands the AR. Not much aiming involved in one-handing AR. Like, that's amazing. Shout out to everybody at CooperCon. My boy Nikki B's out there, friend of the channel. Video game. So this is where me and Gaz come in, right? In '89, a video game based on the film was released in MSX, ZX Spectrum, Commodore 64, blah, 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 Atari ST. The game was developed by Emerald Software and published by Grand Slam Entertainment. The fact that the only Running Man game is from '89 is criminal. The 1990 video game Smash TV was inspired by the Running Man. Me and Epic Freestyle King have played Smash TV many times, arcade and console.
Yeah, Smash TV, man.
Is your studio falling down, guys? Reboot. We'll get Gaz's reaction to the reboot, directed by Edgar Wright. So the thing is, like, I don't know why they talk about Edgar Wright like he's something crazy, guys. Like, I like Shaun of the Dead. I don't think I ever saw Hot Fuzz. Like, I've seen a few of his things and like they're funny, but I'm like, is this really the guy that can do like an action thriller? It seems like all his movies were like comedy parodies before that.
Yeah, Hot Fuzz is hilarious, and the comedy works. The Bumming Man 2025 is just okay. Yeah, it might be close. It's closer to the novel, which we haven't read, but it's not got memorable characters. Very bland popcorn filler. the stalkers have no presence. With
we'll answer that in a sec. You can carry on, guys.
It's a very bland, poor. It shouldn't have been called The Running Man. It should have just had another name. Josh Brolin, yeah, his performance is fine, but he's a good actor, and he's more of the sinister TV exec behind the scenes. And that's about the only positive I can say about it. It's a very bland, forgettable movie. Nowhere near as good as the '87 one, which, yeah, okay, arguably isn't as close to the novel, but is a lot more entertaining and a lot more memorable. I mean, look at us, Ross. You could probably do another review on this, talking about other things we've missed. For example, Killian getting his makeup done by his assistant while he's on the phone, and the way the assistant just kind of fades into the background when Killian just dismiss. Yeah, so many subtle things like that throughout the film.
Like a Mugatu moment from Zoolander.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Richard's in the bumming man, as I call it. Yeah, he is an unemployed guy who is going on a game show to help feed his family. So they have got that. And the first 10 minutes, I guess, are okay with the way it shows you the slums, the breakdown of society. That's it. But it's in 2025, it's been bummed, and it has.
Yeah, for sure. Did it reference or credit Stephen King anywhere in the credits?
Yeah, it does. It does actually say Stephen King, so it doesn't say the pseudonym he used to write them. But it actually does say Stephen King. Yeah,
to do it this time, which is interesting.
Yeah, absolutely appalling, Tim. Disneyfied. It's like Wacklands. It's like a bad Star Wars movie with an abandoned Mandalorian script, with the Predator who looks like he's just popped out of high school, who's about as intimidating as
a Labubu.
Yeah, exactly. As intimidating as a Labubu. Horrible forced Disney cuteness in it. Irritated android companion. The only good is the first 10 minutes where it shows you the Yautja homeworld. That is actually good. They do go back there at the end, but it's forgettable. But Predator needs to be R-rated. It has to stay there. It's terrible. You know, everyone rages about Prey, and I didn't even think that was that good. I mean, it's okay. Yeah, Killer of Killers was absolutely terrible, but compared to Wacklands, I'd rather watch Pixie. I'd rather watch Reservoir Dogs than Wacklands. That's how bad Wacklands is.
Holy crap, that says it all, Pixie. Don't get the wrong idea, Tim. We're Predator fanatics here, but I just think that Disney and Dan Trachtenberg is just running the IP. Like, everybody makes such a big deal about this guy. Like, Prey was like so mediocre and unrealistic, except for that one sequence of the Berserker killing the French trappers, which should have been the whole movie. You know, they should have instead of like, he should have just been hunting all the humans, you know. Anyway, but I didn't watch Killer of Killers and Wacklands. I could hardly stomach the trailer. 10 years, I mean, it's a bit like this movie being set in 2017 and it's now 2025, and literally none of that is. I mean, yeah, sure, the wealth gap has happened and the deep fakes, etc., but a lot of the major things have not happened. 10 years, I would say unlikely. 50 years, I don't know. 100 years, maybe. You know what I mean? But
more likely, I think, maybe in 20 to 30 years, you're more likely to get, oh man, the really auto epic movie, which we'll have to cover one time. No Escape, Ross, isn't it? No Escape, where they're on the island.
We'll cover No Escape. I love that movie.
Dude, that movie's sick.
Man. Love that guy. We got a Eulis fan here. Check out the Eric Eulis interview on the Cooper Chronicle series. The drop zone's wrong. Nothing ever found inside it. He didn't jump at 8, I bet. I mean, I think the bump time is probably right. I know they have some like correlating information. The drop zone being wrong, however, though, I could see that. So, I mean, here's how we answer this. So right now they're making that Rambo prequel, and they're also making that movie about Sly making Rocky. They have the dude playing Sly making Rocky, who I think does look like him. I'm not sure who's playing young Rambo, but I don't know. I mean, like, all the CGI, like, de-aging tech I've seen, short of like The Irishman for De Niro, has looked pretty bad. So I don't know if we will get there or not, but what they've really brought up, like this is what me and Gaz said, they should go back and fix the keep. Like go back to an unfinished movie, show us that you can fix it and make it good, and then you'll win everybody over. You know what I mean? Like so you don't have to just keep doing this fruity stuff. The rumor that we've heard forever is like Bruce Lee. I don't know if his daughter has signed off on it. I assume she hasn't. But every decade they say they're going to bring back Bruce. It's going to be epic. He's going to kick ass. No, the only way you could do that is if you go watch me, Gaz, and Greg's. What was that movie called again, Gaz?
Game of Death.
Yes. Go back and watch Game of Death. If you can somehow take the original lost footage and then Bruce's daughter gives the sign off and you fix Game of Death, that would probably win everybody over. I don't know about making a bunch of fruity sequels and just putting Bruce Lee in like every movie, like freaking like, you know, like Star Wars and crap. That would probably be whack, but I don't know.
You see, I'm with the okay. I know Demolition Man 2 is supposed to be coming soon, which I guess I'll have an open mind on that.
I like one. I mean,
one's sick, man. Wesley Snipes, Simon Says it's epic. More memorable moments in that. There can kind of some similar kind of things based on TV and society, etc. in that movie. Now, if a film has been left open, Ross, and there's enough there where you can do a sequel, and if they are going to kind of either pass the torch or take the story further with a new character and say Sly or whoever is involved in the film with making it or has a scene and it's done right and well in that regard, then yes. Not sure how the hell we are. Is it Cliffhanger 2 or an actual remake of Cliffhanger?
I heard about Cliffhanger 2. I don't think it's a remake. So
right.
I don't know.
Because I'm like, how the hell can that be a sequel?
At Stallone's his age, like, you know what I mean? He's going to be climbing mountains. I just don't see it. Well, okay, so there's a reason for this, Jay, and that's because Paul's brother, who looks, I don't know if it's his twin, but it was definitely his brother, looks exactly like him, and so he was the stand-in. Right, exactly. So you're not going to find a guy with like an identical looking brother for every actor you need. Vin Diesel has a twin, but you know he's doing fine right now.
Cobra,
Cobra,
oh,
is
man,
so
there's
good.
another
We gotta get Cobra
movie.
PXF classic. Gotta do Cobra.
Sick, yeah. Man, that dude, yeah, he was an Highlander as well.
Yeah, but I think they filmed most of the principal photography. You could check out our Crow review, Crow OG. Don't worry about the remake. Have to wash the grime off me for me and Gaz watching that movie. And also Chad Stileski was the stunt double in The Crow. He's the director of John Wick. And I just saw. I think he was the dude in the suit in Predator. Also, guys, like Chad Stileski's like resume is insane. If you look up everything that guy's been involved in.
Yeah.
But since his original question, I want to take
we're gonna be sidetracked.
I'll take it back. I don't know about like Clint and Sly, but as far as what should have been done with The Running Man, I think like instead of the remake, they probably should have went sequel. They could have pulled in a bunch of those, even like semi-sequel, where like kind of like how what's his name did the Suicide Squad, where you have like some of the same characters, you add new characters, and it doesn't really reference anything for the first one, but it's like a similar universe. Like Fury Road would be the other like semi-sequel, you know, Gaz's PXF classic. I think that's the direction you would have gone in. I don't know about de-aging Arnie, but here's what I'll put forward. Instead of just like this whole P-make thing that we all don't like, Cobra is so good. Let's just get all these Cobra questions in there, these Cobra comments in there. Obviously, Cobra is so good.
I know, and here's a metal. I'll just jump in with this real quick. A metal reference, I think, on Soul of a New Machine, which is the very first Fear Factory album when they were more of an industrial death metal band before the sampled Cobra. It's either the track New Flesh, where it's got the speech from the villain in Cobra. I'm sure it is. It's definitely on one of the tracks on Soul of a New Machine, the first Fear Factory album. So there's one for you folks.
So Gaz and I constantly bring up oh damn, okay, I agree with this. I haven't really seen Scott Eastwood. I wasn't even thinking about him. And then Arnie's son does look like Arnie. That's a great point. So yeah, you could get the stand-in for him. But So Gaz and I are always bringing up like Boy Kills World. If you guys haven't seen that movie or haven't seen the trailer or haven't seen our review, go back and check that. They're supposed to make like an animated series and I think possibly a video game of that. I think both would be sick. I would put forward the same on Running Man. Instead of this P-make, I would have gone in a totally different direction. I would have just made like, dude, let's keep it real. The new generation consoles, and now they're all crossplay, are good enough now that you have the exact likeness of the actor. If Arnold lends his voice, you got Ben Richards back. You could maybe bring back Jesse Ventura. He lends his voice. And then, you know, Richards fights Freedom at the end for the final fight, which is the fight get in the movie. You know, now I'm talking about like a sick video game, either a third-person shooter or a first-person shooter. So that's where the direction I would have taken in, because the game is from 1989 on Atari. You don't have any, and obviously Running Man is the inspiration to Smash TV, which became a huge arcade and console game. So what I was saying to Gaz is like, dude, don't do Running Man P-make at all. You do a Smash TV movie. You make it way more like action shooter oriented. You pull in a bunch of those original references from the original Running Man, and then you're not calling it Running Man. You know, like even if you have to buy the rights, it's all good. You know, just ask Smash TV if you could use the rights or change the title. My other idea, and like this is where me and Gaz spin off into like PXF alternative theories, would be what Boy Kills World said they were doing. Either an animated Running Man for Netflix, like the anime division, like how they did Splinter Cell, or animated series, even if it's shorter episodes. Like Arnold was supposedly doing that, the Governator series, where it's like an action series where it was his voice. I think they did do the pilot or the first couple episodes. I don't know if they finished it, but there is no like really good Arnold animation, Arnold character animation. So, dude, they didn't overthrow the government in Running Man 1. So you just think that they're going to let Richards run away after like exposing all that stuff. You assume that some of those totalitarian forces would be coming after him, like that arcade game that me and Mac always used to talk about, Gaz, Revolution X, where the Aerosmith game where you fight like New World Order soldiers. Like, so what I'm picturing is like an Arnold anime, like Running Man. I'm just putting it in this argument. Running Man, where the Richards timeline extends, and he has to go. Now he's with the Resistance, so he's a bit like John Connor in Terminator, like he's a leader of the Resistance, and they have all these battles with those New World Order soldiers, and you could see more of the military aspect of it. Let me know if you guys like that idea or not.
You could, and you could expand that, because kind of it's going to sound like we're going to be fanboying kind of on Terminator here, I guess, but
it happens.
You're going to have other chapters in other cities, because that game show is obviously there, and it's probably not just in the States, so you could do an international connection with it. For sure. You could even have that tie in a game with Fleetwood Mac's character.
Oh yeah, Mick passes the torch to Richards. Yeah, I mean, you can have Dweezil works his way up the ranks. Dweezil's still around, like he'd do his voice, you know? So get him on the soundtrack. For sure.
Because it's not just on Marshall. So in Best of the Best 2, there's a guy who is kind of
goes best of the best.
Exactly. I always have to bring in a martial arts kind of side to it, don't I?
Of course.
But the guy who's in the arena, who's introducing all of the fights, is very kind of like a Killian-esque game show host. And when Tommy wins the final fight, who is one of the guys from OG Universal Soldier, by the way, he plays one of the Unisouls. Well, he's the villain. He's also in OG Gladiator, the villain as well. He's the guy who says to Maximus, "I served with you," I think in Germania somewhere. The kind of big German-looking dude.
That's the beast. I think we talked about him in Gladiator.
Yeah, when Tommy beats him in Best of the Best 2, and the host says to Tommy, "Right, if you've got any words, champ's got any words, and it kind of does a show business work with me." And then Tommy just says, something like, I can't remember what it's called, the equivalent of whatever the name is for their little Coliseum or something. Right, it's now closed. Now, okay, in that sense, it's not syndicated. It's just one thing. So you could see this going away, because then the authorities would be told that, they're not controlling society. But in this, they are. So you're right, Ross. it's not just going to vanish. They've been exposed. They're not exactly going to be saying, "Hey, do you want to join us for dinner this Friday to talk about whatever?" You know, yeah.
Yeah. They can blow up that studio.
Yeah.
They can control the propaganda narrative. Look at World War II. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my idea, guys. I really think they owed us like a sick Running Man video game with Arnie's voice, or Arnie lends his voice to like an animated thing. Let's just jump in. So I didn't know that Harrison's son did some Blade Runner reshoots. That's absolutely awesome. You'd think I would know every Blade Runner fact, but Tim knows his stuff. Yeah, I agree with this. I agree with this, Jay. I mean, there's people, but yeah, it's not like the 80s, 90s. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a character in he's like a character in The Boys Gen V, I believe. So he's around. I rock with that guy too. He'll be around. I mean, look at the state of action epic. Yeah, Scott is the man. I think this would have worked. And then what I want to see too is like kind of like what me and Gaz were saying about Boy Kills World is like, instead of Ben Richards kind of being the guy that does everything of those runners, having a team of fighters that are capable, so they all help each other, like how those three dudes were helping each other in Boy Kills World, because it's a lot more a bit like The Raid, a bit like Triple Threat, all these kind of martial arts movies that me and Gaz always mention. It's a much more interesting dynamic when you have 2 or 3 guys fighting together in the tournament, Mortal Kombat style, whatever, as opposed to just having Ben Richards being like, okay, I got to save the other 2 runners and I have to make all the kills. Like it's first of all, it's just not even realistic. Not that Running Man 1 needs to be a realistic movie. They should do it in a Grand Theft Auto game. Shout out to Rockstar. They're locals. That'd be sick. They did put in other movies, the old games like Christine and Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, and Cedra's. The A-Team. Well, there's the A-Team remake with Rampage Jackson. What'd you think of that, Jay? I've listened to Soul of a New Machine many times. I don't recall the Cobra sample. I remember it being on it, our Full Metal Jacket, Apocalypse Now, and Blade Runner.
Yeah, I said it's been a long time. I'm sure it is. If not, it's another band and another album. I've got it up in the background, so I'm going to go through it after we're done, because if I put it on now, it's obviously...
Jay Wise, you're my man, but you're about to get flamed. Right. You guys doing any Christmas movies? Haha, it's the season. Well, we'll put it to audience vote. What is the PRS Christmas movie? Is it Gremlins 1? Is it Lethal Weapon? Is it Die Hard? I imagine it would be one of those.
Silent Night.
All right. Gaz has said, I don't know if your martial arts is separate from your favorite movie, Gaz, but I know what your martial arts is. Jay, you got to know this. They've asked me this many times on the show, but if you're a regular on the channel, you got to know Ross's favorite movie. I should pull out I'll pull out the easiest one I can reach.
Well, I can tell you what it is for you, y'all. Sequel's about to drop, and it's wicked, isn't it?
You're fired from the show, guys. My favorite movie of all time is Apocalypse Now. Honorable mention, Blade Runner number 2. But we've covered that many, many, many times, Jay. You're about to get banned. Gaz, your favorite action movie is Flashpoint, but I don't know if that's different than your favorite film of all time.
Favorite, one of my... Yeah, just to respond to Tim real quick. Me and Ross have talked about this for years as well. I would love to see Conan the King, which they've been talking about doing for so long, where
might have to do Darnay or have his son play him, though.
Yeah, it's pretty much where like his court's trying to screw him over then and take his throne away from him. So man, I would love that, man.
I'm gonna do this for you, Tim. Don't watch Clonan 3D, because that is dog shit. Even though I like Jason Momoa, it is buns. It makes Conan the Destroyer look like Titanic. Favorite
action movie, definitely Flashpoint for sure.
Go ahead, guys.
As for other favorite movies, man, there's so many from. I mean, look, I rate Mad Max Fury Road highly. I'm with Tim on the Predator movies. I feel like my favorite Predator movie would be Predator 2, then Predator OG, and if we're on the Predator theme, then Predators, which no one seems to like, but I think it does.
Which is weird, because I'm a massive Rodriguez fanboy.
Yeah, I think it's dope, man. Even I don't like homage to the OG.
Rodriguez fanatic.
It's the best out. I feel it's the best out of the Predator sequels post Predator 2 because it pays homage to the original and it's grimy and it's adult rated, but nobody likes that. It's better than that, than the Predator, Whacklands,
Oh my God,
Killer of Killers, and the AVP movies. Yeah.
What's your favorite Mad Max in the original trilogy, guys?
My favorite in the original trilogy, Mad Max 2. Yeah, Mad Max 2 without a doubt.
Why is he a bigger star? I mean, he's a dead ringer. You know what? I feel like he's there, Jay, but like he just keeps getting jerked. He's epic in Fury. He's a lot of the things he's been in, he's been great. But you know, it's like it's not really like a Clint like era anymore. Like Gaz and I covered the Dirty Harry review where Clint was like saying racist things to his sub characters, and the way Clint was like a Western star, like obviously, I mean, you get some neo noir Westerns here and there now, but it's like I think that's what Scott should go for. Like next time there's going to be one of these big Tarantino or Christian Bale or Chris Nolan, whoever is going to do the next Western, I think they should even if they're not going to make Scott the lead, they should probably make him like either the villain or like a high level, you know what I mean? Because I think that would give people the nostalgia. Like, oh shit, Clint, you know, Scott picked up the freaking revolver, you know, like, you know, or a Dirty Harry type thing, you know, if Scott can, you know, play Dirty Harry's son. Dirty Harry in a woke present. That might actually work if you get Rodriguez or someone.
Yeah, definitely, man. Just at Slip, yeah. I think I've just gone through it real quick in the background.
Oh my God, you better fight back, Gaz.
Well, I will in a minute. I'll come to that. Yeah, I just went through it real quick in the background, Slipping, you're right. So I've heard it on another album. I get sent so much music. It's insane because I work in music outside of this. And sometime...
I'm going to jump in on this. I do, but they've never actually done it to my satisfaction. Batman, Whackman, and Pooperman was dog shit, and Freddy vs. Jason was also ass. So it's the rumor on the street is that they're going to do Transformers and G.I. Joe. I'm a G.I. Joe fanboy, so that might work. Sly wanted to do Expendables and Fast, and that never came together ever. So it's a good concept, but it never combines to be fully realized, if that makes sense. We got to vote for Die Hard for Christmas for Pixie.
What was that about? What, Grease and... Oh yeah, G, you've got us there. I've got them on Blu-ray every day. I have to watch it, man. I can't go without it, and I want to get the suit and, you know.
Saturday Night Live Fever has an epic moment in it when what's his name, Travolta, is walking down the street. He bumps into Rocky Balboa, and that's actually Rocky Balboa, Sly in character. It's in a crowd, like the New York streets. Like I'll send you the.
Oh, we'll give it that then. We'll give it that. It gets that one. It gets that one point.
1 second with Rocky Balboa in it is epic, but the rest of the film, I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I'm going to send you that thing. Mad Max 1, yeah, of course, epic. You just sent us that video of the Interceptor. Obviously Mad Max's car. Love the PC game too. He wasn't the first choice for most of his movies. I wanted Frank Sinatra. Yeah, no, we covered that. I love Sinatra. I'm Sicilian, dude. I can't say anything bad about him. Genius actor, genius singer. I don't know about like a mafia guy like Sinatra as Dirty Harry though. It seemed like more of a Clint thing. Like me and Gaz covered that. It was more of like a Western type thing.
I think a lot of people like Freddy versus Jason as well for the score. A lot of people always talked about it for that reason. I don't think it's the worst crossover. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot worse. I think they could do better. There is a series. I've sent one of these episodes to Ross. I can't remember the name right now, so you'd have to look it up, folks. But there's somebody who does some animated shorts on plausible scenarios on Batman taking on various villains or various characters from movie franchises. For example, as being Freddy Krueger is an excellent one he did on Jason Voorhees, on how would he defeat Jason Voorhees, and he kind of doesn't really defeat him. He kind of just puts him in a prison, I guess, right at the bottom of the ocean, more or less.
Oh yeah.
There's one of him going up against the Predator as well. They're pretty dope. They're worth checking out.
Yeah, I think Bert was in talks for Running Man, and he just he something about it. He didn't like it. Also, I didn't mention. I think Dolph Lundgren was also looked at for Ben Richards, guys.
Oh yeah,
We're Dolph
Dolph
Lundgren.
would have been sick. I could have
We're
seen
Dolph
Dolph
Lundgren
doing it. Yeah.
fanboys over here. Let's get the show on the road. Let's get our ratings going. I'll go first. You can jump in, guys. Feel free to drop your ratings in the chat for Running Man 1987, guys. It has a 6.6, which is criminal out of 10 on IMDb. Everyone who voted low was wrong, and mine is a 9 out of 10. I'm a Stephen King, Arnold Schwarzenegger fanboy, so I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Over to you guys.
The same 9 out of 10 because it has just got so many memorable moments. So the humor, the comedy is hilarious. There's so many strong characters, even the minor characters I mentioned earlier. The kind of the hype man, the announcer, as we said earlier, when he was introducing Amber, her lover. that guy was hilarious. Killian's so memorable. I love his interactions with the audience, even the guy who can't make up his mind on whether to just send one stalker. So he says, "Oh, you don't have to. We'll send them both."
That was awesome.
And the guy's getting piled on with all the prizes. I forgot to mention, Ross, when we first see Buzzsaw coming into the venue at the beginning, and he punches the fan. And the fan's like, probably got his nose broke. He's like,
he just pushes his face. Did you see that? He touched me. He touched me.
So he pushes his
face and trampled him.
It's so far. I think it was so far ahead of its time because with its subtle undertones on kind of that dark controlling machine that is in the background. I guess the man the man behind the curtain. And the puppet master who's pulling the strings, or puppet masters. So for that reason, it has to be a 9 out of 10. Memorable action scenes, memorable, as I've said, memorable characters, even the score, even the cheese song on the outro credits. I love the way the third act is introduced as well, Ross, just where you see Killian is lying to you. Very, very good movie. Is it one of the best Arnie movies? No, I don't think it is, but it's still good. So yeah, 9 out of 10. Much better than the 2025 version.
Yeah. Again, I haven't seen it. We've kind of got Gaz's reaction to the P-make. Pretty butt, from what I saw on the trailer. Let's get on over to UFC picks, guys. Also BKFC tonight, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Hunt is got a title match in Palm Springs, I believe it is, Cali. You can say, Gaz's favorite martial arts movie is Flashpoint, Johnny Yen.
Yeah,
it's midnight here. Sorry to keep you up. No, he'll survive. What was I going to say? BKFC, you can watch the prelims over free on YouTube. Go check that out. We know UFC is coming over to Paramount pretty soon, a couple more months. So we'll break it down. We're going to start on the prelims because there's actually some known names on those. Malcolm Wellmaker versus Ethan Ewing. Who the fuck are those guys? Aaron Blanchfield versus Tracy Cortez. I hope Aaron absolutely dusts her. Can't stand Tracy Cortez. Annoying. Greg Robocop Rodriguez versus Roman Kopylov. Should be pretty sick. I'm a Robocop guy. Both the fighter and the film. We'll have to get that on the schedule for next year, PXF Classics. Bo Nickel versus Rodolfo Vera. So Bo finally took his first L, guys. So we'll see if he can bounce back. A lot of hype for him as a prospect. Main car. I don't know if you have any weigh in on any of those guys. Those matches.
Same as you, really. It is a good card. Much better than the last one for sure, which was pretty meh.
This is a good lightweight. Give us a rundown on some future episodes you plan to do. Yeah, sure, bud. No worries. What do you mean? Do you mean movie reviews or shoe time or true crime shows? You might want to clarify that, but I'll give you both. This one's a pretty good matchup at lightweight, guys. Benil Dariush versus Benoit Saint Denis. Both capable fighters. I do like Benny, so I'm probably going for him. Has more wins. Benoit is probably like the younger prospect, so he's looking to put a hurting on him. I'm interested to get your take on this one, guys. Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates, because they're really deriding Prates right now. Like, he has a lot of hype, and he's good, but I don't think he's crazy. I don't know that he's on a Leon Edwards like champion level, you know. So,
I've got to go with Leon for this.
yeah, I
I really do. Look, I know you. It could be different. We all know that when it starts, but I'm going with Leon Edwards.
Hey, the problem is that Leon Edwards' left kick. If that lands on you anywhere in the octagon, you're going to sleep. So if you can't get it off, then yeah, probably a back and forth fight. Yeah. If Leon lands the kick, I'm sorry, but it's head short dead. Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. Both have similar records, 18-0 versus 18-1. I don't think I'm really a big fan of either of these guys, but you guys can weigh in the chat. Valentina Shevchenko versus Weili Zhang. Okay, two extreme legendary champions in the female division. I'm a bit of a Valentina fanboy. She does have some action movies that she did with Halle Berry. Probably one of the best grapplers in the league. Of course, Weili Zhang, probably the best Chinese fighter I've ever seen. So
great.
I would lean towards Valentina, but I don't know. I'd say anything could happen in that fight because they're both. Zhang is going up a weight, right? So we got to see how she adjusts to that. So I don't know. That could be close. Both legends.
I think that's going to be a battle. That is going to be the battle. I think that's going to be one of the battles of the night. Yeah. You know, if not the battle outside of the main.
To be honest, I think they should have promoted that as main. To be honest with you, because they've gotten the most promo in the embeddeds. I mean, I get Islam and Jack are bigger guys. It's just like JDM. I think he's fire. It's just like he really hasn't had the name recognition up until his last couple fights. Islam, we obviously all know who he is, but with him going up, it's like, yeah, he's a lightweight legend, but he's kind of unproven at welterweight. So that's why I'm kind of like that as the main event over Valentina and Zhang. I get that they're women, but I'm like, they have the more recognizable names. I'm sorry, you know. I'll hit all the questions in a second. So feel free to drop your matchups, or do you have any preference on that main, guys? JDM versus Islam?
Not really, man. I think I'm just going to enjoy the contest in that one.
Here's my to the MMA gods. I just hope JDM clips him and hurts him early and makes it a fight, as opposed to Islam just pinning him and watching him. You know, because that's gonna be so annoying. I'm sorry, it is. That's it. I'm looking for Hunt for that main event on BKFC. That me and Wall Street were there when he broke his arm in LA, and that sucked. So I'm hoping he could bounce back. Rundown on shows. So yeah, sure, bud. So we do have a Cryptid Files Volume 1 in flux. We're just waiting on the guest. Very legendary guest in the rock world, in the cryptid world, in the Ancient Aliens History Channel world. So next week, like we said, No Country for Old Men, then Sisu 2, The Road to Revenge. We're probably going to do the Crow graphic novel first week of December because Days of Sodom got pushed back because it might get picked up for distro. Long story. You guys can hit me on Twitter or wherever you have me, or email if you want me to answer questions about it. I believe you requested Heat, Jay. That's December 13th for the anniversary. Heat is legendary. The 20th is still open, I think, so we might have Gaz fill that in with the PXF Classic. And then the last show of the year is probably going to be The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. We're going to finish that clinch. So beyond that, we have the Cryptid show. I am reading Gunther, Jay. I know you and Tim are Cooper guys, so I might try to pull in somebody for Cooper at some point. Just there's a lot going on, to be honest with you. And then obviously Zodiac Files episode 5 and 6 ready to rock. So that's quite a bit of content right there. If anything else comes up that's big, we'll let you guys know.
Do you want to shout out this show for them all as well? I've just started watching the first episode, and that is, it's dropped on Netflix. Last Samurai Standing. It's set 10 years after the Boshin War, and it's good, and things happen as well. There's enough action in there. It's not like Shogun, where it's just a slow burn with hardly anything happening. Things happen in this. It's highly recommended.
Yeah, Shogun got picked up for season 2. I've been watching Dune Prophecy. I'm 2 episodes in.
Is that any good?
Aesthetically, it looks very good for the Dune universe, but if you're not super into the sisterhood, I don't know that, like, if you're a big fan of like the Paul Atreides storyline, it doesn't really transfer much over. There is an Atreides character. it's a very different feel. It's no Denis
Right.
Villeneuve directing, I'll say that much. But I'm waiting for it to turn up, so I'm gonna get into episode 3. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Okay.
Do I keep in touch with the Cooper content people? Nikki B is a friend of the channel. I talk to him all the time. Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm looking to get into it. I do talk to a couple of the guys behind the scenes. Just kind of I've been on more on Zodiac, and then obviously you guys know I'm finishing my master's degree. It's done in a few weeks. Then I'll stop bitching about it to you guys. You can peep over the Patreon where we do like the most dangerous game breakdowns. Thank you for the link, Pixie. Why didn't they make a Monkey Magic movie? I know you like the TV show that have done well. I'm all on the merch.
Yeah, they did a new Aussie version of it. I think there's 2 seasons possibly, and it's all right. It's not bad, but like the original has our humor, doesn't it? You know, there's not really any of that in the second one. There's a couple of Chinese movies, obviously based on the Monkey King, etc. Some of them are good, some of them not so great. But yeah, I mean, you could have kind of had action comedy, or you could have even gone in a grimier direction with it as too. I'd be for that. I mean, people have been talking about as well, like a sequel to Big Trouble in Little China for years. I'd be down for that as well. That would be cool. Jack Burton's an epic character. Apparently the story is continued in the graphic novels, which I haven't read, but they're supposed to be all right as well.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody at CooperCon as well. It's going on in Seattle. Yeah. I'm not sure if they're still selling the or no, it's not in Seattle. It's in back of the Kiggins, where I was in 2022 in Portland. So I don't know if they're still selling tickets for today and tomorrow, but if you're out in the Pacific Northwest, definitely hit that up. Definitely a good time over there. I think that's it, guys. If there's no final questions for me, we're going to land the plane. As always, you can send donations to Venmo, Cash App, PayPal if you want to get your name in the credits of Zodiac Files main series. Episode 5 and 6. Episode 5 is the Lake Herman Road ambush. Like, sub, share, click the join button to become a member. Shout out to Epic Freestyle King for joining up. And as always, you can sub Gaz over at Mosh Shinobi. We have the graphic novel at Amazon, so you can go check that out, the Dark Rift Volume 1. I think that is pretty much it. We're probably going to land the plane.
Yeah,
go ahead, guys.
Just going to get back to slip on something. I'll try and find the band and let you know. If I don't find them, then just disregard that statement. It just popped into my head because I've heard that speech on an album, Death Metal album, and I just thought, all right, yeah, it's Sullivan New Machine by Fear Factory, and I haven't listened to that since forever.
I hate that feeling when I'm looking for like a song or a verse or a bar or a sample, and then I'm like, all right, now I have to spend like 8 hours for the rest of the day playing every song I can find until it happens to all of us.
The thing is, Ross, I can say this is like with us coming from music as well, and you know how many it's still the same. I literally get easy 500 emails a day with literally every genre, and I can forget what I've got, what I've listened to, what I've worked with, what I've done, honestly, and be like, oh no, I haven't heard that band before, and I have, and then like the album will be sat on my shelf.
So when shows become when movies become series, or TV shows into movies, or the other way around. I'll start with the other way around first. So the Watchmen series was like kind of weird. It could have been better. It wasn't as good as the movie. The Evil Dead series, however, was awesome. So I'm trying to think of like examples. Like I said, Dune is kind of like mediocre for me right now, even though I'm a ridiculous Dune fanboy. So the one that got announced this week or last week was V for Vendetta, getting made into a whole series. So depending on how they do that, it could be sick, because obviously the movie is dope, a PXF classic. Gaz and I should do that.
Yeah.
Remember.
Did anybody see the Minority Report series? What was that like? I think it got cancelled, didn't it?
Get back to us on that, because I love the movie. Yeah, it's more of a risky business sliding out in my boxers and my socks every time we do Paradigm Review show. But I obviously do have the Top Gun Ray-Bans, because I'm a massive Maverick fanboy.
So all right, guys. Whole new take on the Running Man there, bro. Especially if things popped out. Yeah.
Classic. I think we're going to land the plane, guys. If there's no more final questions for me or for us, let's go watch some MMA. Join us next week for No Country for Old Men. The Sisu 2 Road to Revenge trailer is out now. Shout out to everybody who came through and for rocking with us. And we'll be live for No Country with Old Men anniversary next week. And V is a classic. Love that.
The new series of it was decent as well, and it got cancelled, sadly.
Mm-hmm. I think they had like a remake of that as well. So that'll probably do it, guys. Probably gonna land the plane. Paradigm Review Show. I'm Ross Richards. We got our boy Jack Death. Gaz, go sub on Mashinobi. Shout out to Fire Pixie helping us with the links. Everybody who joined a member came through. Like, sub, share. Join us next week for No Country for Old Men. I think we're likely out. I really don't think there's much news. Like Gaz said, there's really not much coming out in the theater other than like legacy anniversary stuff as far as for what we're watching. If there's something we need to catch up on, it's like the streaming action films, which is like the new Atkins, Diablo, and the other things Atkins does. We're going to catch up those. Last week I was on a plane, dude. I didn't miss a week. We just bumped the show to Sunday because I was in Phoenix and on my way back. So I'm here now. No travel next week. Don't worry, Pixie. We won't jerk you. We know you have work, so we'll do No Country for Old Men. Josh Brolin, Javier Bardem's first appearance, and Tommy Lee Jones. Like, sub, share. Paradigm Review Show, PXF channel. Thank you all for coming through. We're out. Okay, well, we'll keep that in mind, bud. We'll try to do the shows just for you. Like, so we're out, guys. Peace. Hit us up next week.